One very effective way to view the wrap-up, the final phase of a project, is to think of it as a separate mini-project with its own scope, schedule, and budget. The scope of work to close out a design contract is usually well defined in the contract itself. Treating this phase as a separate mini-project will help to keep the project team focused on their most important task, finishing the job. During this wrap-up period, the PM should be sure to 1. Review in detail the terms of the contract. The definitions of substantial and final completion dictate what must be complete and turned over to the client in order to obtain the release of retainers and execution of the certificate of completion. 2. Keep a list that identifies all loose ends. Make lists of everything possible. 3. Evaluate all potential changes to the scope of services and determine if any final change orders should be submitted to the client for additional payments. 4. Constantly review any checklists of all work to be done, add new items, and cross off completed ones. 5. Assign each checklist activity to the appropriate team member to complete by a defined date before releasing him or her to another project. 6. Review and check all items on the checklist until everything is complete. 7. Make sure all outstanding receivables are collected. Remember that in order to identify all loose ends, you must conduct all final in-house reviews, client reviews, and third-party reviews. Any other final activities required by contract or the project management plan should be noted. As part of this task, the PM should carefully review the various terms in the contract, all conference summaries, meeting minutes, and correspondence. Make a list of all commitments and verify that each has been met. After the PM has completed this final review and listed all in-house, client, and third-party commitments, he or she must evaluate any recommendations for additional changes with an extremely critical eye. At this stage of the project, any decision should be based on the answer to the question, will it work if we don't make the change? Unless the consequences of not making the change are too severe, the change should not be made. Not agreeing to make some last-minute change is difficult for most PMs because it goes against their desire to do the very best job possible and make everything perfect. Unfortunately, making the changes usually erodes the profitability of the project. These last-minute improvements can be made ad infinitum to any project, and the project will never finish. They will destroy your budget and schedule. Even if the client requests the change, it can seriously impact the impression of how well the project was managed. This really doesn't help the client or the project team, nor does it help the design firm itself.